The People's Democratic Party has dismissed comments credited to Professor Jerry Ghana, suggesting that former President Goodluck Jonathan could get an automatic ticket and contest on the party's platform in 2027. Briefing journalists in Abuja, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, who doubles as Secretary of the Media and Publicity Subcommittee of the National Convention Organizing Committee, also dismisses claims that a state congress was held in Cross River State, describing any of such exercise as, quote, hallucination, and insisting that the process had been formally postponed by the National Working Committee. Well, he states that no congress took place in Cross River, Plateau, or Kebbi, as the NWC had shifted the exercise after due consideration. Meanwhile, the Damagun-led faction of the NWC has approved the dissolution of the Awka State Executive of the party, while announcing the composition of a caretaker committee to run the affairs of the Akwa Ibom State chapter of the PDP.
Congresses, the NWC had approved the postponement of congresses in Cross River, Plateau, and Kebbi State. That was published, that was conveyed, it's in the public domain. So there was no emphasis, there was no Congress held, authorized by this party, consistent with its process and its procedures and directives. The Congresses in Cross Rivers, Plateau, and Kebbi State were postponed.
Well, to delve into the constitutional debate surrounding the eligibility of former President Goodluck Jonathan to contest in the 2027 presidential election, considering his past tenures, I am joined by Jibrin Okutepa, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much, senior advocate, for joining us on the news tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
This is not the first time we are having this debate. You would recall, ahead of the 2023 elections, it also came up if former President Goodluck Jonathan could run again. I guess the debate has been heightened from comments by the presidential spokesperson to President Bola Tinubu, who says, should former President Jonathan run, it would be a third term, and we have his day in court to decide that. So my question to you is, former President Goodluck Jonathan eligible to run one more time for office or not, based on the law, the Constitution?
Well, as far back as 2013, I've had cause to write an article on the basis of whether or not the then President Goodluck Jonathan was qualified to seek re-election in 2015. And my article was extensively published in Sahara Reporters. And my argument then was based on the decisions of the Supreme Court in the case of Marwa versus Nyako, where the Supreme Court was emphatic that under the 1999 Constitution, a person can only be elected to the office of the governor or president for 2 terms of office of 4 years. Now, there is no dispute that President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria when, unfortunately, President Yar'Adua died.
Yes.
And he spent 2 years completing the tenure of office of President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Then, as of right, he got elected in his own right for a period of 4 years, which he spent. And
from 2011 to 2015.
2011 to 2015. When he was seeking the re-election to contest the election for 2015, I was of the view, and I still hold that view tenaciously, that he was not qualified to run for that office on the basis of the Supreme Court decision that interpreted the provisions that a person is qualified, how many years a person is qualified to stay in office. And my argument was simple, devoid of any legalistic arguments rooted in legal confusion, let's make the simple mathematics.
Yeah.
The 1999 Constitution was the constitution under which President Umaru Yar'Adua and President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan contested election. And the Constitution says you cannot qualify to run for the office of the president except you nominate a person who is equally qualified to become president as your running mate. So President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was nominated. He ran for the tenure office of the presidency with President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Unfortunately, President Yar'Adua died, and he took over. So as of today, under the 1999 Constitution, President Ebele Jonathan had spent 6 years in office. 2 years as president, serving the remainder of the tenure of the office occupied by late President Yar'Adua. 4 years in his right, making a cumulative years of 6 years. Now, if he runs for 2027 and he wins, question is, under what constitution did he run? 1999 Constitution. How many years has he served under that constitution? 6 years. 6 years plus 4 years, making a period of 10 years. That one will be contrary to the decisions of the Supreme Court that the time fixed by the Constitution for tenure of office is like the rock of Gibraltar that cannot be elongated and it cannot be moved.
Okay.
Secondly, before then, and to put paid to this what looks like constitutional ambiguity, the National Assembly came with the Fourth Alteration Act, and that Fourth Alteration Act was passed on the 7th of June 2018, and that is the Fourth Alteration Act that says expressly a person who was sworn in as president to complete the term for which another person was elected as president shall be elected to such office shall not be elected to such office for more than a single term.
Yes.
So the question is, did President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan complete the tenure of office of President Yar'Adua? Answer is yes. Did he win election for another single term under the 1999 Constitution? The answer is yes.
Okay.
Forget about the argument.
So, senior advocate, you said a lot.
There is an argument
yes,
that says that the amendment does not take retrospective effect.
And that was my next question. Since it came into force in 2018, is it retroactive?
It is not a matter of retroactivity. It's a question of what constitution. The 2018 did not bring in a new constitution.
But it was an alteration.
It was an alteration of existing constitution.
And all of this under President Jonathan happened before it happened.
Sorry?
All of the circumstances surrounding former President Goodluck Jonathan happened before 2018.
What was the alteration of 2018 altered? It altered the 1999 Constitution.
So in other words, you're saying
there is no new constitution in 2018.
So are you saying it is retroactive? Is it retroactive or not?
It is not a matter of retroactive. It is a matter of calculation. Don't confuse calculation with retroactivity. Will the President Jonathan contesting this election under another constitution?
But in law, isn't it a principle of being retroactive or not?
When you talk about retroactive, it is talked about a vested right. Does he have a vested right to the presidency?
He has a vested right to contest.
He does not have a vested right. No, until he's even nominated by a political party.
Okay.
So if he has not acquired the right before this amendment, but in any case, if we go by the decisions of the Supreme Court about calculation of how many years you have to do, then let us calculate how many years will President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan do should he win election in 2027.
What about the arguments for those who say former President Jonathan was only elected once, and that was in 2011. The first time in office was by virtue of succession, and so that should not count as
did he complete the tenure of office of a person elected under the 1999 Constitution?
So that argument doesn't stand.
The question should be, did he complete the tenure of office of President Yaradua? The answer is yes. How many years? 2 years. Did he win election into that office once on his own right? The answer is yes. When was that? 2009. 2011.
Yes.
Under what constitution was that election conducted? The 1999 constitution. The fourth alteration amended which constitution? The 1999 constitution. It was not a new constitution.
Okay. All right. So what are the concerns here beyond the term elongation, which you seem to be highlighting in terms of years?
That's political question. I'm not a politician.
You're not a politician, but what are your concerns? Should he, one, emerge as a candidate of a political party? Two, should he win the election? What are your concerns?
My concern will be that there will be a constitutional violation, because the constitution is the ground norm. And it is the president, former president Goodluck Jonathan that himself said that his ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. Mm-hmm. And I think that his ambition is not worth a violation of Nigerian constitution. That's my view. I don't know him. I don't hold brief for anybody. But in 2013 that I wrote this article, you can Google it. It's there. I gave elaborate view on the reasons why I held that view before this alteration. And in order to clear the doubts, Parliament now made it clear. When people talk about retrospective enactment, there was no new constitution enacted in 2018. And if you borrow the principles of even an amendment relates back to the date that the matter was filed in court. For instance, if you file a process today and you amend it in 10 years' time, it relates back to the date the matter was. So the 1999 Constitution was amended by the fourth alteration
of 2018.
Of 2018 to bring the intention of Parliament to bear that you cannot have more than 8 years in office. And the Nigerian Constitution does not provide that you can be elected for 4 years and you do 2 years and leave.
Okay. In 2022, a federal high court ruled that in Yenegua, if I remember correctly, Bayelsa State, that former President Goodluck Jonathan was eligible to run again as president of this country. So,
which case?
It was a case in Bayelsa in 2022.
I've not had the privilege of reading it.
Okay, great. But if a federal high court says he's eligible to run, are you saying that the courts have done wrong in interpreting the situation?
I have not read it, so I cannot say there exists such a case, whether the court is wrong or right. But when it comes to a question of interpretation and construction, the issue will end in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court principle, where there are, where the Supreme Court has set a principle, the lower court, including the Court of Appeal, is bound to follow that principle, whether rightly or wrongly. And I'm saying, in my view, that when the Supreme Court decided Marwa versus Nyako, and put a calculation of how many years one needs to spend as a governor or as president, and it's come to the conclusion that the total maximum you can spend is 8 years, then I'm worried that that principle will be applied with microscopic understanding in asking the question, how many years had President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan spent as president of Nigeria under the 1999 Constitution?
And you believe that was the spirit behind this alteration by the National Assembly, because some would say it was no fault of President Jonathan that unfortunately his predecessor died and he had to complete his term. But as a Nigerian, that the Constitution allows for him to run for 2-year term, or 1 year or 4 years, and a maximum of 2 years for president. He cannot do that because he completed somebody's tenure.
You see, for every choice we make, there are advantages and disadvantages. If you chose to run as vice president or deputy governor and you are caught up by constitutional disqualification, you cannot complain, because volunteer non-fit injuria. If you volunteer, you can't complain. I wish that President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan remains a statesman that he is, because in the history of Nigeria, he's the only president that did not engage in extrajudicial and extra unconstitutional. I have tremendous respect for him. And I think, in my view, as president of Nigeria, his role now should be a role of a statesman. And then, being a statesman, he can be a kingmaker, not necessarily the king. And so, if he's dissatisfied that something is not right, and he wants to put it right, then he can look for any Nigerians that have the impeccable character, understanding, competence. Then he will back such a person, and then we will save ourselves from these arguments. And I'm sure you know, when Professor Chidi Odinkalu offer opinion, those opinions were profound. See, this is a fluid issue.
Yes,
and given...
And there have been diverse reactions to it.
And given the circumstances we find ourselves.
All right, Senior Advocate.
Do you think that it will not amount to, with profound respect, a reckless hazard for Mr. President Goodluck Jonathan to hazard into the race, given his patriotic zeal to see that things is done right? In my view, that patriotism can be actualized through a process of a choice he will make outside of himself.
Senior Advocate, I was beginning to worry if we were delving into politics, since you say you're not a politician.
No, I'm not delving into politics. I'm delving into a constitutional quagmire that he may face in an attempt to rescue Nigeria from a sinking boat. Then the entire passengers in his boat then got sunk on constitutional construction by the Judex that we don't know what their mind may be.
In other words, he'll be dogged in litigations unending.
And then perhaps at the end of the day, his good intention may turn out by the stroke of decision that he was not qualified.
All right, a very good place to leave it. Jibrin Okutepa is a Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you very much for sharing your insights. Nice to see you,
and my condolences to this station.
Thank you very much.
For the unfortunate death of my colleague.
We do appreciate it. Thank you so much.